A very good afternoon to everyone. I am Dr. Neha, Assistant Professor in IIMT College of Engineering, going to present a topic that is relevance of discounting technique in business decision. So this is a kind of time value of money concept. So before moving to the discounting technique, I must conversate you with the time value of money concept. Now, what is this time value of money? Basically, in a layman language, we can say that the value of money with respect to time. That is, when the time changes, the value of money goes on changing. But in the recent scenario, specifically after independence in 1947, the value of money goes on a decreasing stage. Now, the reason can be anything. There are so many factors like the war between India and China, the war between India and Pakistan, the oil prices. So there are many reasons through which the value of money goes on decreasing from the time of independence till now. So as far as now concerned, the value of money keeps on a decreasing stage. Now, when we consider the value of money, the concept of value of money is gaining importance. Now, what is that value of money? Basically, the time value of money is a basic financial concept that holds that money in the present is worth more than the same sum of money to be received in the future. Like we have now a certain amount of money and we want to ascertain the future value of that money. So here the time value of money concept gain importance, because when this psychology that we people have a psychology in mind that the present money is important rather than the future money. Like I have 5,000 rupees at my hand, but I want to check the value of that 5,000 rupees in the future. So here we can use the time value of money concept, because there are two main techniques in considering when we consider the time value of money concept. The first is compounding technique and the second is discounting technique. Now, what is that? Compounding technique is basically when we want to estimate the future value of present money. Like the example I have quoted, that I have 5,000 rupees at my hand. So I want to ascertain the value of this 5,000 money in future, like what I get after 5 years. So here I apply compounding technique, because compounding technique basically present you the amount that the money you have right now, what is that the future value of that particular money. So we have the formula, so we can calculate the value of money after the value of the future money when we know what is the present value of the money. Now, when we consider discounting technique is basically the art of estimating the future value of present value of future money. So if I get 5 lakh rupees after 10 years and I want to know the present value of this 10 lakh rupees, so here I can apply discounting technique. So discounting technique basically convert the amount of your present value, present money, to the future money. So what amount you get in the future, if you want to ascertain, if you want to estimate the value of that future money at a present scenario, here we can use the discounting technique. So moving back to the discounting technique, the time value of money concept, which I have explained, that is the value of money with respect to time, that the present value of money is worth more important than the same sum of money you received in future. Now, this is the psychology of the human mind. Like everyone is seeking for the money, right? So the reason behind this a time value of money concept, that the money which we held in our hand is important, because we can utilize that money in several scenarios. So we can reinvest the money, we can invest the money, we can do the consumption. So we can reinvest that money and convert the present money into a large sum of money. So this concept is taking more important when you have to ascertain the risk level, because future is uncertain. And if we think that I'll receive rupees 50 lakh after 10 years, and if I have to make a choice that I'll get 50 lakh after 10 years, and today I'm having 5 lakh, so I will take the 5 lakh option, that I need, that I want that present money, because future is uncertain. I don't know what would be the value of that amount of money in the future. So This is true because money that you have right now can be invested and you can earn a return, larger amount of money in the future. Also, with future money, there is an additional risk that the money may never actually be received. So future is uncertain. You cannot ask that, you cannot say that I'll get that amount of money in the future, because we don't know what is going to be held in the future. So with respect to the money, we have to concentrate on the discounting as well as compounding technique, that we must understand that how the present value is to be converted into future money and future value is to be converted into present money. So here we have the two types of techniques. Out of these, discounting technique is gaining so much importance. Now, what is that? That I'll already explain, that it is a process of calculating the present value of the future money. So what the amount, any amount which I get in future, I will just want to convert it into the present scenario, convert it into the present uh, time scenario. So in relation to time value of money, which supported the fact that dollar today is worth more than a dollar tomorrow. That what you have right now is important rather than what you receive in the future. So discounting can be defined as an art of estimating the present value of future payment or a series of cash flow that are to be received in future. If I am given a choice that I get the lump sum amount of money in the future, or I want to get the same or the lesser amount of money at a present time, so I'll prefer the second option, because I know the value of the discounting technique. I know that the value of money which I'm gaining, which I getting today, is more than the value of money which I'll get in the future. So discounting is a key element in valuing future cash flows. Now our topic is a relevance of discounting technique in business decision. Now there are so many decisions that a business have to undertake, and discounting technique is considered as an important way of providing solution to various business decisions and to come out with a dilemma, because business decision we can consider where we can take into top importance, that for the well-being of business, for the growth of business, for enhancing the value of the business, we have to take care of the various business decisions. We have to take care of the various investment decision, financing decision, dividend decisions. So when this discounting technique is very much helpful in taking out the various business decisions which are the risky one and which provide you the higher rate of return. Now when I talk about the rate of return, that the rate of return in the formula I am discussing also, that is the formula of the discounting technique is the present value is equal to future value divided by 1 plus r is to power t. Now, R is very important in the discounting technique, that R is denoted to the rate of return and T is for the time period. Now, when we talk about the rate, that the rate utilized in discounting technique is known as the discount rate. Now, what is that discount rate? It is a rate which is used to discount future cash flow back to their present value. Like we are talking about converting the present value, or identifying the present value of the future money. So at what rate we are going to discount this present value? We are going to discount this future value in the present scenario. That particular rate is known as the discount rate, and we usually call it discount yield. We also called it hurdle rate, and basically it means the percentage by which the cash flow to be received in future are reduced considering the time and risk factor. Like I have already told you that the concept of time value of money supported the fact that the value of money goes on decreasing with the passage of time. The real value, I mean, say the not the monetary value, the real value of money goes on decreasing with the passage of time. So discounting techniques takes into consideration that when we have to discuss about the cash flows about the businesses, because the business provide you n number of cash flows. Now cash inflow or outflow, and the rate or the percentage through which we convert this cash flows, convert this cash flows into considering the present value or the future value, that particular rate is called the discount rate. Basically it is the rate which is used to discount future cash flow back to the present value. If I have to calculate the present value of the future money, the rate I use is known as the discount rate. So discount rate is the only factor that enhances the importance of discounting technique in the business decisions. Because when we talk about the business decisions, when we talk about the relationship between discounting technique in the business decision, discount rate plays a very important role. Discount rate specifically provided the net present value of your future cash flows. Now, what is that net present value? We are going to discuss in the next slide. But before moving to the next slide, I want to discuss the process of the various business decisions that is to be taken by the uh, business entrepreneur or the promoter of the business. So these business decisions are very important for the enhancement or for enhancing the value of the firm, for enhancing the market capitalization, for enhancing the profitability of the business. So the first is identifying the objectives of the business. Now, in the business point of view, from the business point of view, we must have the knowledge of the business objectives. Business objective can be of two types, basically they are profit maximization and wealth maximization. So every business who is related, who is a considered a profitable business, or we can say the profit making organization, they have to think about the profit maximization, that how we enhance the profit of the organization. So whatever business decision is to be taken by the owner of the company, owner of the business, they have to consider the business decision, and they have to consider the objectives of the business, that whether they formulate the profit maximization as an objective or the wealth maximization as an objective. If they consider profit maximization as an objective, that means you only think about enhancing the profits by whatever means you are going to use. Like the business decision they are taking, they have the one approach, that is to enhance the profit. Second is wealth maximization. Wealth maximization is a way ahead objective of toward the profit maximization. Like if you fulfill your profit maximization objective, only then you are able to come across the wealth maximization, because wealth maximization is the enhancing the wealth of the shareholder. Now when we think about, when an owner, when the owner of the business think about the wealth maximization, only when they have their profit with them. The loss making institutions never think about the wealth maximization. Logical, and theoretically, when we read in the books that profit maximization is important, well, wealth maximization is more important than profit maximization. But in the real scenario, wealth maximization cannot be achieved before fulfilling the profit maximization. So a business owner and entrepreneur must think about the objective of the business, that what should be the objective. Only then you'll be able to take the business decision rationally. Next thing is gather relevant information. First, we have to consider the business objective. Then we have to take into account the various information related to the objective, and we have to identify between the different course of action. Like what we are going to do in the business, we have to select a particular course of action, and we must ready for the alternative also. Alternative, that if plan A doesn't work, we must have the plan B. If plan B doesn't work, we must have the plan C. So a business owner and entrepreneur must have the capability to gather the relevant information, identifying the various courses of action, and choosing the between the alternatives. Next, we have evaluate the options. Now, if we have the alternatives, we have to check the viability of every alternative, that which alternative, which course of action provide us maximum benefit. So we have to evaluate, we have to do the cost to benefit analysis, that what will be the cost of that particular course of action, and what will the benefit they give to the organization, they give to the business. Now business decision is very much focused on evaluating the various course of action, evaluating the various forms of alternatives, because actually they define, they depict the value of the firm. Next, we have make your choice. Now, it's a large or a huge dilemma in the minds of the business owners, entrepreneurs, promoters of the business, shareholders of the business, that how to make a perfect choice. When we have the huge number of options, and each and every option, after the analysis, we think that each and every option has an equal cost benefit, like it takes us the equal amount of cost and provide the same amount of benefit. Then here the manager, the owners, the shareholders of the businesses have to taken care of the perfect choice they take, that whether they have to select first option, second option, third option, that they have to which provide them maximum benefit. And if the benefit is same, then you have to check the feasibility, that what should be the more convenient for the business, what should be the more effective for the business. So on the basis of that, you have to make your choice. And the last is evaluate your decision, that is the feedback time. You have to take the feedback, that whatever option, whatever choice you have selected, they must provide you maximum benefit. You know, in the first stage, every option, every alternative seems like they provide you equal benefit, but after the application of that alternative, after the application of that work course of action, you actually analyze that which option gives you maximum benefit and which option actually have the lesser opportunity cost. Like if you know, invest the same amount of money in any other project, uh, what amount of sacrifice you have to do. So on the basis of that, on the basis of the opportunity cost, you have to evaluate your decision, that whether your decision is best, worse, or the perfect one. So this is the small considerations and the process of the business decision making, that how the decision take place in the business organizations. Moving to the very important part, that is the three major business decisions that is to be taken by the owner of the company, owner of the business, shareholders of the business. The first is investment decision. Very important and very technical. Investment decision means you have to allocate your money on a profitable project. Now, who is going to tell you that what is that profitable project? The capital budgeting techniques and the working capital management. So in investment decision, there are two major decisions that is to be taken by a manager, by the owner, or by the main dignitary, main owners of the organization. That is to make choice between the various capital budgeting techniques or how to manage their working capital, because these are the two main areas where your investment is to be take place. Capital budgeting is a process of preparing a budget of your whole capital, that how much money you have to be raised through the issue of shares, issue of debentures, issue of bonds. So, and what is the value of money at that particular project. Now in the capital budgeting techniques also, and in the investment decision, investment appraisal technique also, we are going to study these techniques like NPV, net present value, IRR. So these techniques helps to identify the best level of investment project, that which project gains you maximum benefit, which project gives you maximum rate of return. So investment decisions are very much appropriate. I can say that it must be the effective one only when you can make a choice and you can choose the best form of or best course of action with relate to capital budgeting as well as with relate to working capital management. As you all know that capital budgeting techniques are of for the long term. Whenever we have to raise the funds for a very long period of time, then we think about issue of shares, issue of debentures, issue of bonds. And working capital management is the management of your working capital, that working capital which is required for running out to day-to-day operations. So we have to take consider between the long term as well as the short term investment decision. The next we have financial decision, which is the, as you all know, that finance is the lifeblood of every business, and financial decision is the basic financial decision are the basic of or basic criteria for evaluating the performance of a financial manager. Now, whatever I'm talking about, that financial management, a time value of money discounting technique, that all revolves around the financial management, and the performance of a financial manager can be evaluated by taking these major decisions. But financial decision takes the utmost importance, because finance is regarding the availability of money at the time when required by the organization, when required by the company. And when we have to take the financial decision, we have to think about the sources of finance and the allocation of funds. So this is a major decision that is to be taken by a business organization, that from where you have to raise the funds and where you have to allocate the funds. So this major decision that have to be taken by the finance manager on the basis of the discounting technique also. Now, in the next slide, we are going to discuss that how discounting techniques helps in taking the various types of decision. And the last one is dividend decision. Dividend decision is the decision is to make a choice between the dividend giving, the amount of dividend paid to the shareholders, or the retained earning. That is, how much dividend payout ratio should be taken and how much retained earning that the business has to retain to utilize in the next year, utilize in the other next investment project. So these three types of major business decisions that is to be taken by the owner of the company, or we can say the financial manager. So because the whole viability or whole profitability, the whole productivity of a business organization, revolves around the financial manager. That from where the funds are to be raised and from where and in what resources we can allocate that funds, and that allocation of fund must be the optimum one. Now, when I talk about your investment decision, here the discounting technique plays a very important role, and we have formulated, and the financial manager have to formulated the two types of method, that are the discounted cash flow methods and non-discounted cash flow methods. Now, discounted cash flow method, which use the discounting technique, which uses the discount rate to evaluate the present value of future money. So we have, a number of methods, like I have just jotted down 3 or 4 methods, but we have several number of methods in which we use the discounting technique, and which helps a manager to take out the various business decision and to, draw out a demarcating line between what to select and what not to select. So a manager has always to take care that what decision they have to be taken and what decision they don't have to be taken, because it degrades the value of the firm. So we are talking about the investment appraisal technique, the discounting technique, and this net present value, internal rate of return, profitability, discounted payback period. They all are the discounting techniques which helps the finance manager, which helps the managers of the organization to take the various business decisions. So let's discuss these techniques one by one. The first is net present value, in which we have to calculate the present value of all future cash flow. So this is the most appropriate technique which is used to evaluate the investment, or to appraise the investment procedure, in which we have to calculate that whether the positive value is to be calculated, negative value is to be calculated. If the positive value is there, so we have to accept the project. If the negative values are there, we have to reject the project. Now, the cost benefit analysis, you have to analyze the present value of future cash flow on the basis of the sum to the initial outlay, that at last, through this investment, what you get, a positive result or the negative result, a maximum benefit or the least benefit. So that is your cost benefit analysis. And the most important, IRR, that is internal rate of return. So internal rate of return shows you, or that if you utilize your retained earning and you invest in some other project or any profitable opportunity, what return you get. So basically, IRR is the opportunity cost of the option you have already selected. Like I have selected an option, I have selected an investment that I have to invest in the, shares of any other company. So I'll calculate the net present value, that by using the discount rate, what we have discussed. So I get the net present value. But what if the investment opportunity I have left, that I haven't selected that opportunity, what should be the cost of that, or what should be the benefit of that? That will be calculated with the help of IRR. So IRR is basically, when you in that place where your NPV is zero, when you don't have that particular rate that at which you can discount your future cash flow. If you don't take that option, if you will not take that option, the opportunity cost of the option you have selected, so that compute your IRR. So that is these are the discounting technique which helps a manager to take out the various business decisions. Now we have the non-discounting cash flow criteria also, like the payback period, accounting date of return. Payback period, that the amount or in which we cannot use the discount factor or discount rate. The simple, the period through which we can call our investment back from the people who invest in a business. And accounting rate of return, basically the ratio of profit after tax and book value of investment is calculated. That is basically depict the parameters of your business proposal. Now, the most important part, relevance of discounting technique in business decision. We discuss about business decision, the whole process of business decision. We discuss about the relevance. Sorry, we discuss about the discounting technique as well as the business decision. Now we have to, place the relationship between the discounting technique and business decision. That whether these discounting technique that we are talking about, that NPV, IRR, cost to benefit analysis, whether they have any impact on business decision, the answer is yes, and a very huge impact on these discounting technique on the business decision. Only a financial manager can tell you that this discounting technique will help that manager a lot in taking out the various decisions. Now, the one of the decision is to be taken by the financial manager, in which discounting technique helps the manager. The first is evaluating investment project. Like I already said that calculating NPV, calculating IRR, that is net present value or internal rate of return, and to analyze the cost benefit analysis. These all techniques helps to evaluate the investment project. If we have the positive NPV, then we'll accept that project, and if we have the negative NPV, we reject that project. So simple for a finance manager to calculate the net present value of every investment project he has to undertake, and he has to check that whether we have the positive NPV or negative NPV, and we have to select that project which have the positive NPV. Now, what is that NPV? Net present value. We have to calculate the total present value by applying the discount rate to the cash flows. And the value we get, that the total present value, we have to for calculating the net present value, we have to deduct the initial investment from the total present value, then we get the net present value. And if our investment, initial investment is more than what we get from that, so obviously that investment project is not so important, or we can say the investment project is not so profitable for the business. So NPV is a very important factor which helps the managers, which helps the owners to evaluate the investment project, that whether that investment project is profitable or the provide you negative return. And next we have determining opportunity cost of funds. Whenever a manager has to take decision between the different alternatives, I can say the different investment projects, like where to invest, whether we have to issue of shares, whether we have to take the shares of any other company, whether we have to take the securities, government securities. So that decision is to be very much huge, or we can say that so much effort is to be taken on these decisions. So the second criteria, the first is NPV, the second criteria is to evaluating the opportunity cost of the option that you haven't selected. The option you have selected, you can calculate the NPV, and you have to find out the opportunity cost of the option which you have deselected, which you have rejected. So on the basis of comparison of the opportunity cost, you can select that whether that particular alternative or whether that particular option is to be undertaken in the future or not. Next, we have discounting the projected cash flow. Now, as I started with the time value of money concept, like I think you must all aware about like what is the time value of money, as the value of money goes on decreasing with the passage of time. So we have to apply a discount rate, that what will be the actual amount of money of the future money, and what will be the present value of the future money. So we can find out with the help of discount rate, and we'll come the proper total present value of all the cash flows, that is to be inflow or outflow of the businesses. So we can find out the discount rate, we can find out the total present value, and we can also evaluate the net present value. The answer is same: positive NPV, accept the offer; negative NPV, reject the offer. Determining the growth rate. Now, with the help of discounting technique, we can determine the growth rate of any business. because discounting technique helps in taking out the investment decision, and investment is the core of every business. Like the money, the first is the from the money you have raised the money from which sources, and how you allocate that money. Allocation of money is based on the investment project, and if your investment project is to be taken accurate, if your investment decision is to be taken correctly, then in actual time you can calculate the growth rate of your company, that your business, your company, your firm is going to survive positively in the coming years or not. So this discounting techniques helps the manager a lot in deciding what should be the growth rate in the coming future. Calculate the residual value of the firm. Definitely the opportunity cost helps you to calculate the residual value, like what money you have invested and what money you have left with. Actually that particular, the money you have left with, that is your retained earnings, help you can reinvest that money also, and how much rate you have to reinvest, that also provided by your discounting technique, and it helps in calculating the residual value of the firm. Next is analyzing the risk level. Yes, we have to like risk and return trade-off. Very important concept in financial manager, in which you have to select that option in which you can make a balance between your risk and the return. That if I select a particular project, what should be the risk level and what should be the return level. So we have to select in between, that the risk level is minimum and the return level is maximum. So that decision is to be taken by the financial manager on the basis of discounting technique. Because if we have the perfect profitability index, we can ascertain how much the risk level in a particular project is. So it helps the financial manager, this discounting technique helps the financial manager to take out the various, to check the intensity of the riskiness in a project. And the last is finding the intrinsic value of share. Now, share are the most important source of finance for a business. Like if when you issue the shares, when you offer the share to the general public, that means your value of business goes on increasing if the share price increase, and it goes on decreasing if the share price decrease. So the real value, the actual value of your firm is to be depicted with the amount, or we can say with the depicted with the market price of your share, that what should be the market price of your share in the actual terms. And if the market price is on is on gaining, or we can see an upward trend, that means your value of firm is goes on increasing, and if it shows on decreasing trend, that your market value goes on decreasing. But this discounting technique helps to find out the intrinsic value, that intrinsic, what should be the face value of your share when you have to issue the share to the market for the very first time. IPO, I'm talking about that initial public offering. How you select the intrinsic value on the basis of discounting technique, that the people, that the investor who are going to invest in your project, what amount they deserve, what amount they receive in the future, that is to be deducted, that is to be calculated with the help of your discounting technique. So this discounting technique helps the financial manager to find out the intrinsic or the face value of the share, that if the company, if the business wanted to issue the shares for the very first time, when any company want to execute the IPO, that is initial public offering, this intrinsic value of the share is being calculated with the help of the discounting technique. So that's why discounting technique is to be considered as the most important technique of time value of money, as well as in taking out the business decision. And if the business decision are to be taken correctly, only then a company can move to the in the growth phase. So that's all I want to say, that the relevance of discounting technique in business decision is there when you approach the business decision, or when you utilize your decision in a positive manner. So business decision can be weighed objectively. Weighed, I mean, we have to decide the proportion, that how much risk level we can take, and how much the level of we can say the level of loss we can suffer. So business decision have to be taken on a proper, by giving the proper weightage, that how much risk level a business can be taken. So there is no economic model for morally guide decision making. Now we don't have the set criteria that if you follow the discounting technique or you follow the compounding technique, your business model can be, can be done in a proper or effective manner. You can take decision, and you can always take the right decision, because as you already know that decision making process is a, is a huge process that we have to taken into account. And we have to take certain decision which can go against the model, the economic model that is to be supposed to be followed in the business organization. But if the proper procedure is being followed, if the proper process is to be taken, then we can take the business decision, that we can, any manager, any financial manager can take the business decision properly. Now we use the word, optimum decision making ability. We cannot use the word perfect decision making ability, because the word perfect comes from the set of the economic model utilized in the business organization. And we'll say that there is no set model, there is no set economic model for taking out the decision, because decision is highly projected term. Like whatever your mind suggests to, you have to take decision on the basis of that. So when we talk about the business decision, we have to take care of the various techniques. uh, in today's topic, we are only discuss about the discounting technique, but it doesn't mean that the compounding technique don't have a, important role in calculating the business decision, or to take the business decision rationally. Both the techniques have an equal importance on the business decision. But right now the people, the on the basis of the psychology of the people, on the because people basically present the, investors, or we can say general public, government. So the psychology of the human mind turns to that present money is more important. Like that the theory that has to be given by Gordon, that a bird in a hand is more important than two in a bush. That means the value, the money, that the money you have in your hand is more important, is more vulnerable than the amount of money you received in the future. So, on the basis of this psychology, discounting technique can prove to be a most important technique in calculating or taking out the decision rationally. It helps the organization in taking out the rational decision, and it helps the organization to accelerate their value by considering their share value or by considering their profitability index. So that's all from my side. Like, we have to, I just conclude on this topic, that discounting technique is very much important for taking out the business decision. And if we use the discounting technique properly, only then we can take the rational decisions. That's all from my side. Thank you very much.